Hello and welcome to a radio. This morning we are coming to you live from Minnesota, USA, and this is the roundtable discussion on to a radio. And we have with us a very special guest this morning, uh, our Senatorial Aspirant, and her name is Victoria Torlo Koiquah. She's going to be introducing herself, but I want you to know who our guest is this morning, and we are glad to have you with us. And we want to say welcome, madam, welcome this morning.
Good morning, Patience, and thank you for the invite. It's a pleasure being on your platform today, and I look forward to a fruitful discussion. I look forward to today not being just the first and last. I look forward to a continued appearance on this show. Thank you once more for inviting me.
You are welcome. Of course, we're going to have you here again. We're going to be following you because we want to know, for me, I want to see more women in the house. I want to see more representation of women in the voices so that they can be heard, and so we can see some changes in the House of Legislature. So I'm glad to, yeah, that we will hear your voice this morning. Um, I want us, before we go into our questions, I want us to know a little bit about who you are, who is Victoria. I'm sure the audience,
You are welcome. Of
people,
course, we're gonna have you here again. We're gonna be following you because we wanna know, you know.
yeah,
Thank you. So I'm Victoria Torlo Koiquah. I'm the Deputy Vice Chair for Political and International Affairs at the ANC. I am a member of the National Advisory Council of the CPP. I have over 20 years of experience in the international developmental sector, working across the country, where we have led leadership role from one position to another until we led business development efforts in Play International, where we raised up to or from 50,000 to 2 million. So my ambition has been led to serve our people because of the kind of work I have done across the country and see the needs of our people that the political will have to be there before our country is improved. So with all of the experiences, I have decided to throw my weight in becoming the next senator of Montserrado County so that we can help improve the lives of our people through the kind of legislation we will make and the kind of oversight we will make. So just in short, before we go into the interview, just wanted to say that about myself. Thank you.
you are welcome. This is the voice of Victoria Torlo Koiquah, or Senatorial Aspirant for Montserrado County, and you are watching to a radio roundtable this morning. Please do us a favor, share the broadcast, and we continue with our discussion. Wherever you are, you can make your comments, and you can also call in. We don't have the number on screen, but you can call the WhatsApp number is 952-201-9287, and we will still bring you on so you can make your contribution this morning. Having heard our aspirant this morning, I want to ask our first question this morning. There are a lot of uh, noise going around about women representation in the House of Legislature. So I want to ask this morning, what will make you a good senator when you get into that house, into the Senate? What will make you different?
Okay. Yeah. Like I said in my opening statement, I come with a lot of developmental experience. And what will make me different from the others would be I want to take integrity to the legislature. That's one. I want to take adequately representing people to the legislature. I want to have a very good oversight over the government. Usually people say the executive, but I say the government because I want to have an oversight um, over the government where we want to see a judiciary system working well. We want to see even the legislature we serve working well. We want to see the executive branch working well through the policies that are in place, through the support that are given, and most especially a full implementation of the policies that benefits our people, not to just make these laws and policies, and then we have our people suffering, and when we have the tool to make the system work. So that is what we are carrying to the legislature, to have adequate representation of our people, make good laws, and have oversight, check and balance of the government. But the most
Thank you.
important thing is we are carrying integrity to the legislature.
Sounds good. Um, there's a lot of um news and happenings in it, when it comes to the gender, the women, when it comes to the way in which the plight of women is handled. Women, as we know, they are vulnerable, and especially in our society where there's a huge record of domestic violence and you know the likes. So, what would be your plan for women, especially? Let me not limit it to young women, but what will be your plan for women when you are elected?
So this question is just good. Patience, I attended an extension workshop yesterday where this organization has gotten some money from Power and Medical Liberia. I've gotten some money from UN Women to implement and ensure that female aspirants are trained, supported, and we have in this workshop, we have majority were women in the workshop, and we have few men in the workshop. So during our lunch time, I decided to sit with the men instead of the women because we have few of them and they were sitting on one table. So I sat with them and I asked them, I said, how do you feel during the workshop? I didn't hear you speaking out and things. And then he said, but you guys marginalize us. I said, wow, we marginalized you. He said, yeah, we couldn't even speak. You were just there and everything was just in your favor. So I said, right. And this is exactly the answer I expected from you. So I told him, I told them that how do you feel having a legislature with dominant men? Do you hear the women's voice? And they wanted to defend it somehow, but a practical example was just being exhibited where you had dominant women with just few men and they couldn't find their way to speak. So I was like, you see what happened to you today? Not that you are afraid to speak, not that you do not have the potential to speak, not that you do not have the capacity to speak, but you were amongst dominant women. So you felt intimidated. You just sat in your corner and listened to us speak. This is the same thing we are talking about. We are talking about building a society where everyone will have equal opportunity to exhibit their rights, even equal opportunity to talk, to speak out. Now, you have a legislature that is dominated by men. You have a percentage of women in a house. You have the Senate, you have 30 persons, you have only 2 female. You have the lower house where you have 73 persons, you have 8 female. I said, that's so small. So that's intimidating for the women. So when they sit among them, but when you have a balance, you see that the women will talk, the men will talk, and you have a cordial relationship. And this is what we are talking about. And this is why when we get to the legislature, we're going to support greatly bills that will empower equality, both men and women. But most especially our young people, we're going to ensure that they come into leadership, be it the judiciary system, be it the executive branch, be it the legislative branch. And most of the time, I go to some communities, I tell the women, I tell them, I say, hey, today you are telling me, go for the Senate. We will be behind you. We will stand behind you. But I also want to see, when I'm in the Senate, I want you to call me from each of these districts to say, Madam Senator, we got a female who wants to run in the district, and let us support that person. I say, and I will be just right there for you. But most importantly, we want to introduce a bill that will economically empower also women. And I was doing some research. I saw that there are some bills that are in committee rooms. There are some bills that are at the level of the president, and it has not been approved, even though approved already from the legislature. And I saw something called economic empowerment bill that was introduced. I just forgetting the lawmaker. So we want to look at, we're going to follow up to see whether we can lay hands on that bill to see how we step on that bill to improve it. Because I come from the NGO background. I do not just jump into, I'm going to do this bill, I'm going to do this. I want to go and study the legislature, get hold of all of those bills that have been pushed, whether it was pushed the right way, whether it was not pushed the right way. I need to understand how this bill has not been approved. What was the cause? How can we improve on this bill once the bill is in favor of the Liberian people? So those are some of the things we want to take to the legislature.
Thank you. That brings me to my next question. You talk about, empowerment, or what have been your contribution in a community? Why should the women in that community look at you and say, Victoria, we have to take her to the Senate? What have been your contribution to the community?
We, sometimes when you hand to people through your heart, when God laid things on your heart to do for people, you don't like to say it. That's the kind of person I am. So I don't like to say, oh, I gave this to this person, I gave this to this person. But in general, my workings in the country, and most especially in Montserrado, we have worked with over 200 groups in terms of village savings and loan. And we have incorporated agriculture in the rural parts of Montserrado, like in District 1. We have incorporated agriculture to where they would make their own gardens or farms, and then put their village savings and loans. So we have contributed in that way. We have also contributed in resolving conflicts in our communities. Wherever I have lived, I have tried to resolve conflicts. I have tried to let people know that when you have responsibilities, you have to take on those responsibilities. And this is why they saw me at the time taking responsibility of my own family, and sometimes reaching hand to other families. So yes, we have been there. Like the community I live in Peaceville on the GSA road, I have been very, very, very active with the community. And this is why the community leadership is now saying that if no senatorial aspirant comes from GSA road, I will be the candidate that they are going to endorse as a leadership of that community, because of contribution to the community. We have done a lot. We have school going children, especially girls, on our scholarship, but we do not make it look like a scholarship. We reach out to people in the communities. Like, for example, you go to a community and you see children playing around, they are not going to school. You
Yeah.
ask the parents, or they are not going to say, okay, send them to this school that I can afford to send them to. As I say, send them there, and I will help to pay the school fees. So those are some of the things we have been doing. But again, I tell people that we should not look at, most of the time people say, what have you done? What are the tangibles you have done? But I'm just a private citizen. I'm not the government. The government should be responsible. We should be holding the government accountable for these things to be done. And this is why we are holding the legislature, the legislators accountable for this. And this is not happening, especially in Montserrado County, where you have increase of rape patients. Just
Yes.
last night, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. A child they brought from Bapolu, and I'm happy that Senator Boto Kane has intervened and have asked the family to take the child to the hospital this morning, and that child will be going to the hospital. Last night, I couldn't sleep because they brought a child, and the child relative, a young man who knows me from my advocacy, reached out to me. But then Wangoso, the NGO secretary
For
of
women.
Liberia, Wangoso,
Yeah.
yeah, for women,
Okay.
yeah, women NGO secretary. I am a board member of that institution anyway. So
Great.
Wangoso has taken seize of this matter, and they have transferred the baby in town. The child will be going to the hospital today. So those are issues, and it is on an increase in Montserrado. But we are not saying the role of the law of the senator of Montserrado County. We are not saying that. We have insecurity in this country. We are not saying the role. How? There is nowhere you have seen where they will call the Minister of Justice to ask, what are the challenges? What are the causes of insecurity in our country, and most especially the capital, where that is seated in Montserrado? You have the health sector has deteriorated. You have lack of basic medication in our hospitals. And when you look at the national budget, where the legislator is supposed to ensure that we have monies on our budget line, you see that the budget is under grants. So meaning, if the donor gets vexed today and say, we will not give you the money until you account for the first money we gave you, our hospitals will be left with no paracetamol. The health sector, I hear people talking about increase in school fees. But where are you? Then I hear lawmakers talking about, we're going to call private school administrators to come and tell us why hard. Are you kidding me? Why can you make the public schools attractive to our students? Once you make these public schools attractive, you will see that the private schools will reduce. Because
Yeah.
I went to several communities, patients. When you go to several communities across the country, across this county that we have Morovia in, you see communities where you cannot find any public school. You cannot find any public clinic. So tell me, a person who will sacrifice their money and build a clinic, they will have to charge, because they have to pay their staffer, they have to take care of the clinic, they have to put medication in our clinic. So you will not blame them for what they are doing, because you, as a government, especially a legislator who is representing your constituent, you are not adequately representing them, because you are not appropriating the adequate budget to be able to support the Ministry of Education. You are not able to appropriate the necessary budget to be able to support the Ministry of Health. And then you come and say, we're going to call the administrators of these private schools. Are you kidding in this country? Or you take fat salaries, you take unnecessary money like the 30K, and you say legislative project engagement. What, are you killing me? And these are some of the things we all go with. And this is why we say And I usually pray to God and say, God, people say the house is evil. But for me, I do not believe the house is evil. I just believe it's the person's nature that when they get there, you cannot change that person. You know, leadership doesn't change the person. It is the person who carry that leadership ability to wherever ever they go. So I pray to God every day that the heart that I am taking to the legislature, that heart remains. And I am also asking the Liberian people to make the job more easier for me by electing Mr. Alexander B. Cummings as president of the Republic of Liberia, so that it help us improve this country. We do not want to have a president where when you are speaking on behalf of the Liberian people, they move in the communities with cash violence and then distract the people from what you are advocating for them. We do not want our government. We do not want a brown envelope president who will influence the legislature with money. We do not want that person. And this is why we are supporting Mr. Alexander B. Cummings, and we are asking our followers, our supporters to help us in electing Mr. Alexander B. Cummings as president of the Republic.
Okay, I will come back to that question about your party and why people should vote for Alexander Cummings. But I want to know your overall impression about the current legislature. What's your impression about them right now?
Um, First of all, I will say that it's zero. The overall, I'm not looking at specifics, but on the overall, I just mentioned few. You know, we are in Montserrado. Morovia is in Montserrado. And you are seeing these difficulties I'm talking about in Montserrado.
Yeah.
These challenges are even worse in the counties. The last time I was on school talk and I was on with some other females, but they are from the ruling party, so they try to defend how this government has done well. I was receiving text message from Lofa County that I should say this, I should say that, but I didn't see those messages until I left the studio. They were telling me that tell them that even when a woman is pregnant in a village, they have this emergency number that you're supposed to call. When you call that number for an ambulance to go to a town to pick up a pregnant woman or a sick person, they will ask you for fuel to put in a vehicle.
Yeah.
They will ask you for fuel to put in a vehicle. Can you imagine that? And this is Lofa, and Lofa has 2 senators. So what are they doing? You have the same. I went to Cape Mount with Mr. Cummings some part of last year before they started their Buga case. I went to Cape Mount. A pregnant woman died on a motorbike in labor pain. They were taking her to the hospital, and she died on a motorbike. These things are happening, and this is an area where you have gold, diamond being extracted from our country. So what are they doing? Well, you have 2 senators in Cape Mount. So what are they doing for the people of Cape Mount? To see that pregnant women will die from giving birth. That's something challenging. And this thing is happening everywhere. So on the overall, I'm not sure if we just take Montserrado, that is right here in the eyes of every branch of government, but most especially the legislature, you will know that in the interior part is even worse. So I would say zero. Zero, because of these basics need that we need to have our people afford.
Now it brings me to the question: what is the new CPP like?
The new CPP. So this is it. It's not a new CPP. We only amended the framework document. So we were 4 in the CPP. We had the Unity Party, the ALP, the All Liberian Party, the Liberty Party, and the ANC. And we from the ANC, we have always told the Liberian people that, and Mr. Cummings is on record for this, always told the Liberian people that we will be the last to leave the CPP because we are committed to what we say and we are committed to the Liberian people. So we went into this collaboration with clear heart, and we just needed to follow all of the democratic processes laid out in the Constitution of Liberia and also in the framework document that we developed. So at one point, other people felt that they could not follow some of the things we lay out in the framework document. They left. So we were left two political parties in a CPP. So we needed to remove the other people and keep us because we cannot keep their logo in the framework on the framework document. And NEC was not going to validate that framework document with the other people's logo because they have written, they have had press conferences and declared that they have left the CPP. So we just went to amend the framework document and remove the other people from there and keep the two political parties. And then we had some slight changes in there. Since we were four and you had two persons or two political parties expressing interest in the presidency, now, and that was Unity Party and the ANC. Now that Unity Party is gone, the ANC is left that wanted the presidency. Liberty Party had already endorsed Mr. Alexander B. Cummings for the presidency. So we went and then we said, well, we are only two in a CPP. Mr. Cummings should be the standard bearer because Liberty Party is not interested. And so by consensus, we agree that Mr. Cummings will be the standard bearer of the CPP, and he's free of charge. He's free, his hands are free to choose his running mate from wherever he wants to, whether from outside, whether from within the CPP, whether within his own party, whether from within the Liberty Party. It left for him, but he's free as the Constitution gives him that authority to choose his running mate. So yeah, that's how the CPP framework document is about. It was amended now, actually a new one. And now for the legislative seats, we allocated some percentages to each political party. We also left some percentages for people who will come to join the CPP. They will also have some percentages allocated to them because they also will have we have people that they want to put up for the legislature. So in summary, Mr. Alexander B. Cummings will be the standard bearer of the CPP, and he's free to choose his vice running mate.
Okay. Why should people vote for Alexander Cummings? And why did you intend? What was your intention when you joined the ANC? Why didn't you go to the ruling party or CDC? Why ANC? That's
So
it.
Patience, yeah. So in 2014, when ANC was being formed in between 2012 and 2013, I was approached, but for the record, I came back home in 2011. So my first time voting in Liberia after the war was in 2011. When I came, it was like 3 days to voter registration any, and I got registered. I had the opportunity to vote. And so when the ANC was being formed between 2012 and 2013, I was approached by Mr. Kekula Kamara, they commonly known as Malawala Balawala. I was approached by him to be part of the founding members. But then back then I was hugely engaged with the work I was doing. So I could not be a founding member or taking position in a party. But then when the institution was formed, we decided to be a member of a political. In 2014, we become a member of the ANC, and That was the year Mr. Daniel Nathan, Senator Daniel Nathan, was elected on the ANC ticket as Senator of Bapolu. And when I was going to join the ANC, we had no political leader. We put forth our ideas, what we want to be, and we had a very good documentation. We had a very good platform about who we want to be. So I thought to join a political party that will not be like the tradition of people forming a party and become standard bearer automatically of that political party. So I joined the ANC since then. And then the process to funding, because we thought 2017 to feed a presidential candidate. So we had a lot of people coming in to take the standard bearer slot. And we waited, every one of them. We look at Mr. Alexander B. Cummings. We read about him. We look at him. A chart, and I want to compare. Sometimes at some levels, I compare Mr. Alexander B. Cummings to George Weah, in a sense that George Weah grew from the slum. The only difference is George Weah used his legs. He played football out there. But Mr. Cummings grew from the slum, from one community, attended demonstration, grew from there, went to live on the Camp Johnson Road, lived in New Cruton, Point live on the FE, a family that was moving from one place to another because they couldn't afford the rent to pay. So went to demonstration, from there went to CWA, from there went to Cottington, got a scholarship, went to the States because he was very smart, went to the States, graduated, came back home to serve his country at LBDR. He served and got another scholarship, went back to get his master's. He was there when the war broke up. He couldn't come back. He started to grow in corporate, in a corporate world. He worked in Nigeria, worked in Kenya, worked in the UK, but most especially worked in America, where we know that people will say there is corruption everywhere. But in America, to be a corrupt person, growing from the grassroots to the level he reached, as second man in command, Coca-Cola Worldwide, where he dealt with so many countries with different time schedule. Where so I sometimes ask him, how did you manage when you had to talk to Liberia, you had to talk to South Korea, you had to talk to Australia? How did you manage when you were living, and how you could sleep? And he said we had to manage through our leadership skills and things. So looking at a man who grew up that way and has reached this level, I thought I was one of those who thought that he should be chosen as the standard bearer of ANC. But then at one point, and I like to say it because I am truthful to myself. I always say, if you are not truthful to yourself, then you are not truthful to the world. I felt he's the right person. Then as time went by, I don't know what happened. I said, well, the way I'm looking at things, I saw that the CDC were being very big force coming. So I said, look, Mr. Cummings has just come. Even though we have said he's the best person, he could be the best person to take our country from where it is. But I think with this, if we give the chance for CDC to win, I'm not seeing any leadership ability in George Weah. At the time, George Weah, I'm not seeing any leadership ability. So I did support Ambassador Bouaka in 2017. But then after the elections, I said, look, this is nonsense. I think we need to come back, recalibrate. With all the fighting we did, George Weah still won, and today he's president, and this is how our country is going. So in 2018, we decided to throw our weight into the political arena, even though we were still working. We discussed with our leadership, and we were into it. We were a little bit silent. We were not vocal. But then at one point, I said, hey, and this is me. This is my nature. I felt that Plan International was paying me, but I was not so effective like before. I used to carry my computer home, work from home. I'm on time. I met deadlines, but at this point, I was not meeting deadlines because I had two jobs on my head, and I wanted to see that I am hugely involved. We want to do everything to make impact in our country. So I was a little bit delinquent on the job. I decided to resign. I decided to resign because I didn't feel good that they were paying me and I was not effective on the job. I resigned for the first time. They rejected my resignation, and we sat on the table. They said, okay, you are a female. We as an organization, we cannot be preaching female political participation. And we see you want to be active in politics, and then we just let you go because of that. Let's see how we can strengthen you. Some days you can be active with your politics, some days, yeah. And I told them plain blank that, hey, it will not work because I am leading business development. What if I have to submit a proposal today, and that day I have to be in the communities with Mr. Cummings or whosoever on the political field? What will I choose? Will I choose to go to the field, or will I choose to stay and submit this proposal? It will be conflict. The best thing is I should stay away. If there are any consultancy that you wish for me to do where I can sit home and do the work for you, that would be better, but I cannot be on the job. I'm not effective on the job like before, and you are paying me. My conscience is not serving me for me to be receiving money from an organization that I am not effective on. So that's how I left Plan International. I resigned in February 2021 and got hugely involved with politics. So my intention when I was coming to be in active politics was to help Mr. Cummings, and I am saying I am into it to help Mr. Cummings win the election, to help us change our country. And I also thought that my ambition, I also thought that my experience, I could make a good lawmaker. So that could be another way to help change our country.
How will you exercise your oversight power in the Senate if you are elected?
That
If you
question
are
is a
elected,
straightforward question. Well, the Constitution gives the roles and responsibility of each branch of government. So I'm not going to go beyond the scope of my job roles, but I'm going to ensure that the right things are done in the judiciary, and beginning with confirmation of judges are going to play a key role in scrutiny judges that will be appointed to the different courts. I will play a key role in investigating whether they will be good or not. So yes, and I also know that every branch will have to work in collaboration. I say this to say that I know that the legislature has the right to perform laws, but then it is the judiciary, the Supreme Court that interprets those
oh,
laws. So yeah, so before making laws, you have to go into consultation with them to ensure that these laws will not be, because when you make the law, the laws are passed. The judiciary, they sit there, they don't interfere, nothing. But when somebody takes the law to the court, then they tell you that it is unconstitutional. So I think it will be a working relationship amongst us,
hold on.
and we will follow purely the Constitution, the rights that the Constitution gave us. If we think that some of the rights are not the rights in there are not enough, we're going to
Oh,
suggest to see how we amend the Constitution to have oversight rule over the judiciary. But I think the judiciary, to be able, with the kind of country we have, I think the judiciary should also be independent like the legislature, but we want to ensure that they do the right thing. Yeah.
Okay. Our lines are open, and the number you can call on WhatsApp is 952-201-9287. And we're going to be taking calls. So you can call in. I have a caller on the line that want to ask a question right now. And we're also going to be reading some of the comments that are on the broadcast. So wherever you are, if you want to call and ask questions, the number is 952-201-9287. And I will have it on the stream shortly, so we can take our first caller right now. You are welcome.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Abraham Colley, and I do join the conversation from Monrovia, Liberia, to be specific. And I want to appreciate your guest, Madam Tucker, for the brilliant exposition. My issue is this. Liberians now are fed up with the issue of promising during campaign. And what about some of the initiatives in terms of maybe empowering women, or maybe organizing some event that women can be, in the know of some of the political happenings in our country, the activities across the county. One, two, the issue of, Montserrado. What kind of Montserrado you want to see if giving you the chance to serve the Senate come 2022? What kind of Montserrado you want to see? What difference you want to see in Montserrado County? Thank you.
What kind of Montserrado you want to see?
Thank you. I think that's the most important question here. But let me answer the first one. And I think I elaborated on that question when you asked me. So,
Yeah.
yes, we have been involving empowering women through village savings and loan, through agriculture. We are also involving empowering our women, because our program is 75% women and 25% men, where they are making their own soap, liquid soap, hard soap, Dettol, Clorox. They are making across the county. We are private citizens. Our hand can reach just so far. We are not the government to do also. We are reaching out to some communities, but also we want to look at the kind of communities we want to reach out to. The village saving alone is across Montserrado. The agriculture part is in the rural part of Montserrado. Some places you go, you say, hey, do you have, even if it is just one lap for us to do backyard gardening, people will say, oh, we ain't able to do that all on one day. Oh. So those ones are doing the village savings alone. Also, the soap making a thing. There are certain areas you go, people will say, oh, we already know that thing, or we know how to make soap. So we focus actually on certain area. We are not strong enough financially to do the entire county. So those are some of the things we say. We are giving scholarship. We are giving scholarship in vocational schools. We are giving scholarship in to individuals in different schools across the country. If I'm not mistaken, I think I got like 15 schools that I am giving few scholarship in. And I also want to let you know that we have paid over 500 students entrance fee at the University of Liberia since then. But we were not doing it for political reason. We were just doing it because we thought that young people, we have smart young people and they do not have it. So whenever they approach us, we try to 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 give it to them whenever we have it. Now, what kind of Montserrado I look forward to seeing? I look forward to seeing, and to be very frank, Abraham, this is the reason why I have thrown my weight in this senatorial election, because our senator, Sir Joseph, has failed Montserrado. Our senator was once a lawmaker at the lower house before he came to the Senate. Even the District 13 he represented, go and see the road going to New Georgia, go see the people how they live in Plainfield, Chocolate City, go see how they live there. They live in actual poverty in our place. No good water sanitation. Can you imagine? You will have people taking bath with water, where they put the water, they put sand in a bag and put the water over it for it to drain before they take bath. So this is the content he has led us throughout. whereas he's richer than a county. So a county I want to see where the county health team is properly empowered to take our health care centers to improve our health care centers. We want to see where there is no health care center, we have health care centers. I have visited communities where you cannot even see school, even a private school, you cannot see it. You see children walking distances because their parents want them to go to school. So I want to see a Montserrado where you will have a very good learning environment, where you have libraries in school, you have benches in the classrooms, you have a good blackboard system in the classroom. But right now you go to, you in Montserrado, and Montserrado is just the capital city is in Montserrado, and we're seeing all of these things. So I want to see a Montserrado where children will be free, having good learning environment, where children will be free from rape, where insecurity will come and end, where every woman will be free to walk from one distance to another, where people will not see themselves in fear every time they go to bed. We want to see that everybody will improve their lives. We want to see a Montserrado where we have vocational training centers for every Liberian in Montserrado County. For example, you have this big county. Sometimes I tell people that this county is half of Liberia. You have only one vocational training institute. So where is the Ministry of Youth and Sports? We want to see that branch of government working properly. Or if they have nothing to do, let's find a way to see how other people do the job. But we cannot create land ministries that will have over 100, 200 employees being paid with taxpayer money, and then you see that they are doing nothing. The only time you hear about the Ministry of Youth and Sport is when we are playing football, in fact, not even sports. Only when we are playing football. When we say content meet, then you hear the Minister of Youth and Sports. Yeah, so we want to see we want to see a Montserrado where we have good health care centers, we have good learning environment for our kids and other things. Thank you.
Let's take another caller.
Let me say thanks to your guest, again, AB from Liberia to be specific, Monrovia. And my question is this.
The name.
AB, I think the same person.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The question is going to the guest. I listen to her that the city senator has failed the county with the issue of lack of safe drinking water to some of the places he represented at the time when he was lower horse. I mean, what have been some of your contributions towards mitigating or settling some of those constraints that the people you claim to represent Council 23? What have been some of your contributions towards settling that issue?
Okay, thank you, caller. I think you threw a light on that, your contribution to the society. Just briefly, you want to go over that before we take some of our questions or comments on the broadcast.
Yeah, because I think it is the same person calling. I think I have answered the question. And again, I want to say I'm not saying when Sir Joseph was a private citizen, he didn't do his work. I'm saying he is the senator of Montserrado County. He served as representative of district number 13. I said he failed Montserrado. I am a private citizen. I have lined up some of the work I have been doing, and I have said I didn't do it for political reason. My political reason will be that political will when I am senator, what I'm going to do, and I have lined up what I'm going to do. I'm going to adequately represent you, Abraham. I'm going to have oversight over the government to ensure that the government does the right thing. I am going to make good laws. We're going to prefer good laws and policy to help improve our country. That will be my role.
Okay, let's take a couple of questions here. I think Amos is asking here, what will you do that would be different if you win the senatorial seat of Montserrado County? That's Amos' question.
Can we take other questions or only
Yeah.
so that
Okay.
we can maybe, because some of the questions
Question is
patients,
like
actually some of the
repetitive.
questions will be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take this one. The person said, do you support the 30% legislation?
Okay. James.
You want to answer that before we go to the next one?
Yes, because the first one was already answered.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
the one before this one was already answered. So this one, do you support the 30% legislation? I do not know when he said 30% legislation, but we have been advocating, from the beginning, of my when you asked about my role in the legislature in favor of the women. So I think I talked a little bit about it. I gave you example of yesterday program I attended with me.
Yeah.
So we have been advocating actually for gender equality in all areas of work, be it the private sector, be it in government, be it the legislature, the judiciary, the executive branch. We have been advocating for gender equality. Now, we understand the challenges faced by political parties or women. So political parties, you have women, and women make up a majority in the political parties. But you see that the women, because of the kind of way women are considered in our society, they usually play the back role. I will tell you that when I decided to throw my weight in a race, people say, "Oh, they were Maya, you are sitting down, they didn't put your C also. Now you throwing your way, they will put your C also." So if I got, yeah. So if I got C, let them put it also. They see where the other people get C, they can put it also. Let them put my own C also. But yes, I do support. And yes, I do support the 30%, and I am happy that the way the law is rating also in favor of the men. The law is rating in a sense that it says other gender. It didn't say women. Today we are advocating for women, but tomorrow it could be the men. So this law is actually for both men and women. When you look at Rwanda today, the men are crying today, like what we're doing in Liberia, the women doing in Liberia. The men are crying to come at the level of the women. So I support this 30% for either gender, and I'm encouraging women to qualify women who mean business for the Liberian people, who have integrity. And I know that Liberian women, we have integrity women, and I have seen some of the faces already that are showing up are integrity women. So we want to see more women in the legislature. We want to see more women running this time around. The law didn't say 30% for women, 30%, 70% for men. It says either 30% gender or 70% gender. So the list political parties will be submitting, it will either be 70% females or 70% males, or 10% females or 30% females. So we just want to make this clear that 30% is not just referring to women, it could be the men carrying the 30%. So yes, we agree with the way the law is written, because we want to be careful also not to marginalize the men when we begin to take on the matter of authority.
Okay, just want to put up. Abraham is still asking his question. It looks like he's not done with you yet.
Yeah,
He
yeah, yeah.
said
Let me see the question.
all of the constraints that you just mentioned that citizens of Montserrado County are going through, can it be only solved when you are re-elected, when you are elected as senator? He's saying all the constraints that you mentioned, the only way this can be solved unless you are elected as senator. That's his question.
Sometimes sometimes they like to, all the lawyers, they want to entrap, they like to entrap people with, they like to entrap people. So I just want to tell him that you need only one senator to be elected in 2023. And I'm asking you, your support, you, Abraham, I'm asking your support to support me. I am telling you what I come with on the table, what I can do to help change our country. I will not be the only senator in a Senate. We will be 30 senators. And I will look forward to working with my colleagues, negotiating to help change our country. And this is why I'm asking all of us Liberians to help elect people. Not only if you want to elect a mayor, it should be a mayor with integrity. If you want to elect a woman with integrity. I will not be the only senator in a Senate. We will work together. But I am saying that this is what I come with. This is a Montserrado I want to see. So I want to see other people from other countries to say, this is the Lofa I want to see. This is the Grand Jida I want to see, right? This is the Kitma I want to see. So that's how I will answer your question. I cannot tell you that I'm the only person going to be making the laws because I need other people to vote when I offer good ideas. And we're going to ensure that before we put for any bill, we will do some investigation to understand whether this bill could benefit the people will be in favor of it before we put for them. We're not just going to go, and this is why I said we are not just going to the legislature, we begin to say, oh, I put for this bill. Put for in the bill and being rejected immediately after you put for it is also a failure. So you need to understand, you need to talk with your colleagues. We will build that relationship in the legislature. And it will not only be at the Senate, we'll build it at the lower house. We'll build this same relationship in the executive. We'll build this relationship everywhere. So I'm not going to be the only person doing the work, but I am saying this is the Montserrado I want to see.
Okay, let's take another question here. I think this is something that you threw light on already, but nevertheless, he is asking what has been Madame Victoria's individual role in promoting women representation before deciding to contest in the upcoming election.
First of all, I have been one person who in my organization everywhere I have worked um, whenever, because I have worked in places where every 6 months we have been taking interns after graduation, be it where I work in Guinea, in Senegal, and in Liberia. I have always encouraged women to take the leadership role. I have always encouraged women not to sit to the back. I tell people that I was not meant to link out. I was meant to link in. So women, when we sit on the table, let's sit on the round table. Don't sit at the back because usually women like that. So yes, I have been advocating for women's promotion, not only at the legislature or to become a representative, but even in the communities, I have encouraged women to go for community leadership. I remember sometimes in District 6, one of our community leaders there is a female, Jeanette. Jeanette was people started to intimidate her, and I told her that Jeanette, you can make it, and we all stood by Jeanette. Jeanette won the election, and she's there. She's taking care of people like her. If I go to our community to talk to people, they will tell you to Jeanette, because you don't talk to Jeanette, then you don't talk to us yet. So that is how powerful she is. I have been influential in some of the community leaders on the GSA role, because on the GSA role, you have 16 blocks. So some of the 16 blocks, we have females as community leaders instead of male. So yes, we have been promoting. And I just said on your platform just now that I am encouraging women not to only support me as a woman female candidate, but also think about running. We have potential women in those districts that come 2029 or even this 2023, they should think about running, and they got my support. Yes, we have been doing this. We have been doing it in schools where I have encouraged guys to take on leadership role whenever I appear in any school, because the kind of work I did, I work with students, I work with youth groups, community-based organizations.
Yeah.
And even in the interior, I have encouraged people, town chiefs. I have said, look, you the women, you can take over to be town chiefs. I have encouraged them. I have promoted them. We have some town chiefs across around. The last time I went to Bomi to one town, and I met the town chief. I was so proud of her. People listen to her. Before she speaks, you see the men will carry on their battle cry, their traditional battle cry. That's the kind of community we want to see. We want to see equality. We want to see men and women competing. That is the kind of person I am. And this is why you see I have thrown my weight, because I want to see the competition between men and women. Thank you.
Okay, let's take another question here. The person said, how can she describe the action by the U.S. Treasury Department against the 3 officials of the government?
I'm gonna straightforward question, yes, sir. I can only say yeah, I can only say thank you to America, to the American government for taking this action against people. Look, we cannot continue to steal from the people that we say we represent. People are being paid with taxpayer money, and they go on to steal the Liberian people money. You have pregnant women being taken on a motorbike and die on a motorbike. People being taken in wheelbarrows. People being taken in hammers. Ambulances don't have fuel to go for patients. And then we have people stealing our monies. You cannot condone this. And we frown on them. And I think we still have some of them. We look forward to some of them being sanctioned again. And I'm happy that this sanction is not on Liberia, but on individuals. We have to punish people when they do wrong. We have to stop this thing of impunity. So my stand is to tell the American government, thank you for putting sanction on these rogues. People say corrupt people, but I want to say these rogues, because people want to make it look sweet. They say corruption, but they are rogues. They are thieves. They stole our money. And because they are stealing our money, this is why our country is like this. Once there is corruption in a country, you will always have people living in poverty, because the money they take, they put it in their pocket. We all listen to Nathaniel Mange telling the people in Bon County that the other people took it, they carry it to America. So our owner will take it, we build houses here. When we're not here again, any houses stay here for you. Can you imagine? It reminds me about Johnson Street. 1996, I came for vacation and I was passing around Johnson Street, and they were saying, buy your own thing 2 times, buy your own thing 2 times. So they loot people's houses, they bring it there, and then you come back, you come right there and buy it and carry it back to your house. That is what Nathaniel Magay was telling us. You have people who were living, they were 12 living in a room, but today they have a house that costs more than 300,000. These are issues that we should not take lightly. Once you have corruption, rampant corruption in your country will never move from one level to another.
Okay, time is fast spent, and we want to close up our broadcast. We want to ask for your final statement before we close. Our aspiring senator.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, I'm happy to be on this show, Patience. I look forward to coming back. I know there will be challenges in our political season, but we are not deterred. We look forward to everyone's support, and we look forward to your support, Patience. I want to say it publicly. I know you have the right to support who you want to support, but we want to say publicly that we look forward to your support. We look forward to AB, who gave me some tough questions. We look forward to AB's support. We look forward to Jensen's support. We look forward to everyone's support. You know, this is we have just grown from the women, the many potential women we have in our country. I'm just a little bit of the potential women we got in this country, and if the women can rally around me, the men, because we are not just going to represent only the women, because once this country is improved, the men too will be relaxed. They will be relaxed. So we look forward to everyone's support to make this journey a real dream, and we think that we will win the elections because the incumbent that we are going against has made the job easy for us. He has failed the people of Montserrado County. He has turned himself to a minister of education. He has turned himself to a minister of public works. And what he's doing is purely for political reason, for selfish reason, because he waits until when we are approaching election before he begins to come with bosses. But we are asking that the system should work for everybody. The system should not just work for 100 people. You have over 2 million people living in Montserrado County. So if you are helping just 100 people, it is not sustainable. So we look forward to your support, and we want to say thank you. We'll be back anytime. Just call us. We'll come on. Thank you.
Well, it was good having you this morning. You are watching to a radio, the African Actions Network, and we support everybody. We are independent and we are neutral and we are very objective. So we support everyone that come on this platform, opposition, ruling party, uh, individuals, just name it. So we want to say thank you for joining us this morning on this broadcast. This is the 2A Radio TV Roundtable discussion. And we want to say thank you to our viewers out there for joining us this morning, and all the participants that were here this morning, and even those that will see the broadcast. We want to say thank you. Thank you. Continue sharing the video, continue sharing the message in this broadcast. So until then, I am your presenter, Pastor Patience, and we will be here again next Friday, same time on the 2A Radio Roundtable. Have a blessed and good rest of your day.